The Xinling king glanced at those around him with a smile and spoke casually. "Has everyone gathered?" "We can begin any time," replied one of Solomon's powerful figures. At this moment, Xiao Yan and his 15 companions stood at the forefront. Behind them, hundreds of participants who had also entered the points plundering competition stood silently. Without exception, all of them lifted their heads slightly, gazing at the powerful figures in the sky. "Then let's begin," the Xinling king said slowly. The selection for the sects officially began at that moment. A rather handsome man appeared before the crowd on the ground and said, "Those standing here now have earned the right to join one of the sects within the mystic three heavens. First of all, congratulations on your outstanding performance in the points plundering competition. Now, you can choose a sect to join. Currently, the 9 major super sects in the mystic three heavens are Incense Pavilion, Myriad Flowers Pavilion, Ancient Desolation Palace, Purgatory Hall, Solomon, Puppet Manor, Pill Valley, Palace of Heartless Emotion, and 10,000 Swords Sect. There are also other sects you can join. For example, beyond the 9 super sects, there are sects like Nightmare Valley, Astrology Valley, Poison Sect, Sword Deity Sect, Ming Sect, and others. "Now, let's begin," the man said as he slowly stepped back. As he left, a lazy-looking man stood up from the crowd, his eyes filled with excitement. This man was ranked 100th in the points plundering competition. Besides the 100-strong participants from the competition, there were several hundred others who had performed exceptionally well and were also qualified to join the sects, making for a large crowd. "May I ask, Senior, if I am allowed to join the Xinling royal family?" The man respectfully approached the Xinling king and asked. "A mid-stage 4-star Do-D. Of course, the Xinling royal family welcomes you." The Xinling king smiled gently. A flash of light enveloped the man, and in the next moment, he appeared behind the Xinling king. The man's face lit up with excitement. To have joined the Xinling royal family meant that his wealth and status were now secured. Immediately, he followed respectfully behind the Xinling king. Once he stood behind the Xinling king, he felt the unfathomable strength of this peak Do-D expert. "The first one to join is from the Xinling royal family. This is a good sign," remarked one of Solomon's strong figures. "Let's continue," the Xinling king said softly. Though the man ranked 100th was only at the mid-stage 4-star Do-D level, emerging from tens of thousands of newcomers demonstrated his considerable strength. Fresh blood like this brought great satisfaction to the various sects. After all, for any sect to thrive long-term, the infusion of new blood was the key. "I choose Myriad Flowers Pavilion," a woman said softly, and the strong figure from Myriad Flowers Pavilion took her under their wing, preparing to return to their sect once the selection was over. "Ah," Chang Yu shook his head as he watched. "The Xinling royal family has immense wealth, so resources are never a problem for them. Pill Valley, on the other hand, has a vast network of connections and is composed of alchemists. Their resource power is terrifyingly strong. As for the other sects, they each have their advantages, but our Incense Pavilion focuses on cultivating the mind and body. This is why Incense Pavilion always has the fewest disciples each year. After all, who would bother cultivating their mind and body when they could pursue powerful techniques or immense resources? Let's just hope the Xinling king and Solomon don't get too carried away," Chang Yu muttered, his eyes scanning the field. "I will join Pill Valley," said a man dressed in an alchemist's robe. Pill Valley was undoubtedly the best destination for an alchemist. "I choose Purgatory Hall. My parents were killed by demons. I have no ties in this world, and my only goal is to slay demons and ghosts, to seek vengeance," a man with fierce eyes declared. "What a spirit for slaying demons and ghosts," laughed a powerful figure from Purgatory Hall. Purgatory Hall occupied a unique position, never involving itself in the conflicts between sections. Their duty was to walk the knife's edge, and one misstep meant death. Yet, their deeds had earned them the admiration of countless people in the mystic three heavens. Such sects, dedicated to a righteous cause, were rare. "I will join the Palace of Heartless Emotion. When I return after mastering my skills, I will kill the one who betrayed me," declared a woman whose eyes were filled with despair. Clearly, she had been hurt in love and joined the palace of heartless emotion and desperation. Love, hatred, child, why suffer so? Sighed a figure from the palace of heartless emotion, comforting her. Once you joined their sect, the path of the mortal world was cut off, and all emotional ties severed. I can't accept this, the woman sobbed in agony. The powerful figure from the palace of heartless emotion waved a hand, and a white light enveloped the woman, soothing her pain. Child, joining us is the right choice. Move along now, the figure said kindly. I know I lack talent, and I can't surpass others in cultivating Do Chi. That's why I'll join Puppet Manor, said a man carrying a doll on his back. His gaze was filled with determination, a never-ending force surging from within. You are teachable. Come, the strong figure from Puppet Manor beckoned. I only wish to learn supreme swordsmanship, so I wish to join 10,000 Swords Sect, declared a man wielding a heavy ruler on his back. A strong figure from 10,000 Swords Sect waved their hand, taking him under their banner. I was adopted as a child, but when I grew up, my foster father tried to violate me, so I killed him and went on the run. I wonder if I can join Solomon? A frail woman asked softly, her words stirring deep sympathy. Come, Solomon welcomes all. No matter who you were before, you are family here, the powerful figure from Solomon said. The woman, her burden seemingly lifted, bowed deeply to the Solomon figure. I've been unable to cultivate Do Chi since birth, but I refuse to give up. I want to prove that even without Do Chi, I can still make something of myself. I will join Ancient Desolation Palace, a burly man declared with passion. Of course. Even if you can't cultivate Do Chi, you can still make a name for yourself. Joining us is the best choice, the strong figure from Ancient Desolation Palace said gently. Xiao Yan, I will surpass you. As the burly man left, his voice echoed powerfully across the field. For some reason, Xiao Yan felt that this man's words carried an unknown force, as if they were not mere boasts. This Du Chun seems to have some hidden secrets, the Golden Dragon King mused as he observed the situation. What was the name of that burly man who joined Ancient Desolation Palace? Xiao Yan asked those beside him. I think his name is Du Chun, Yuru replied softly. Du Chun, Xiao Yan muttered. For some reason, he had a strong feeling that this man was destined for greatness. The crowd continued to select their sections. By now, only a few remained, and without a doubt, those still present were the cream of the crop. Looking at the sky, it was clear that the Xinling royal family and Pill Valley had recruited the most members. Given their vast resources and influence, the former gathering alchemists, the latter hoarding immense wealth, their large numbers made perfect sense. Behind Changyu, the deputy master of Incense Pavilion, there were only a few disciples who had chosen to join, just 5 in total. It was notable, especially since every other sect already had at least a few dozen new recruits by this point. Deputy Master Changyu. It seems Incense Pavilion won't break past single digits in disciple numbers again this year. A strong figure from Solomon said with a slow smile, causing the people behind him to erupt in laughter. As the laughter echoed, a flicker of doubt passed through the eyes of the few behind Changyu, as though they were reconsidering their choice to remain. Enough! Changyu barked angrily. With his outburst, the strong figure from Solomon refrained from further provoking him. On the ground, Xiao Yan's immense soul power observed this scene, and he murmured quietly to himself, It seems Incense Pavilion is weak, and they don't get along with Solomon or the Xinling royal family. The number of people on the ground was rapidly decreasing, but Xiao Yan and his group remained calm. After all, it was only a matter of time. I'll join Incense Pavilion, said Luo Guang, a late-stage 4-star Do Di known for his remarkable defensive abilities. Hearing this, Changyu was visibly pleased. He clearly remembered Luo Guang's formidable defense during the battle in the Forest of Corpses. Despite being only a late-stage 4-star Do Di, Luo Guang's defensive abilities were so powerful that even a 5-star Do Di couldn't break through them in a short time. Truly a promising talent. Good, good, good. Changyu exclaimed 3 times, clearly uplifted by Luo Guang's decision, which had brightened his previously sullen mood. Incense Pavilion may be good, but it's not the best fit for you, the Solomon figure said slowly. Your Do-Chi attributes are earth-based, and your defense is strong. You'd be better suited to joining Ancient Desolation Palace. You Solomon people meddle too much. It's their freedom to choose which sect they join. Changyu snapped angrily. Heh, true, but I'm only stating the obvious, the Solomon figure responded. Deputy Master Changyu, no need to get upset. Your health is important, he added with a cold laugh, his targeting of Changyu remaining unabated. Thank you for the advice, senior, but I've made up my mind to join Incense Pavilion, said Luo Guang, his hearty laugh showing his straightforward nature. Without hesitation, he moved to stand behind Changyu. In the forest of EngSubs, Luo Guang had teamed up with the second-place competitor. He had handled defense, while his female partner had focused on offense, resulting in a rich haul of points that placed them in second and third places. With Luo Guang's addition, Incense Pavilion's power grew stronger. His talent was undeniable, and given time, he would surely achieve greatness. Next, a woman with a small snake coiled around her arm stepped forward. She bit her lips slightly, clearly displeased, or perhaps fearful, of Solomon and the Xinling King in the sky. The moment she appeared, the previously lazy Xinling King's eyes twitched slightly, and he stared at her, his face showing surprise. I'll join Incense Pavilion, the woman said calmly. Her name was Lu Di, a late-stage 4-star Do-Di. She was the same woman who had relentlessly pursued Xiao Yan in the forest of EngSubs. As soon as Lu Di appeared, Xiao Yan felt a faint stirring within his blood. It was an extremely subtle sensation, one that only Xiao Yan's vast soul power could detect. The feeling was reminiscent of his own bloodline. Xiao Yan furrowed his brow, lost in thought. The power within his blood was now the purest form of the Xiao family bloodline, as the Taishu ancient dragon blood and other foreign elements had been purged when his ancestor exchanged his blood in the heavenly tomb. So, this strange reaction. Could it be Cai Lin? Xiao Yan's pupils contracted slightly as he muttered in surprise. Xiao Yan and Cai Lin, Medusa, had already consummated their relationship, so it wasn't unusual for traces of Medusa's bloodline to be present in his body. This fluctuation could only be from Medusa. Cai Lin, are you here? Xiao Yan's expression darkened as he gazed at Lu Di. Doesn't Incense Pavilion refuse to accept female disciples? Solomon's strong figure continued to stir up trouble. Heh, that was in the past. Are we not allowed to change our policy now? Besides, whether Incense Pavilion accepts female disciples or not has nothing to do with you, Changyu retorted harshly. Heh. The Solomon figure was left speechless for a moment, unable to continue his provocation. However, the Xinling King beside him had a dangerous glint in his eyes, his gaze fixed on Lu Di. Very well, come up here, Changyu smiled. Lu Di was a formidable figure, and her placement in the top 10 of the points plundering competition was proof of her strength. Wait, the Xinling King's eyes gleamed with a faint red hue, and a subtle killing intent began to spread. Does the Xinling King have something to say? Changyu's expression turned grave as he released his own aura to counter the Xinling King's terrifying pressure. You're from the Medusa tribe in the eastern desert of the Xinling continent, aren't you? What is your purpose in infiltrating a human sect? Speak. If you don't, you'll die. The Xinling King's terrifying voice echoed as his fearsome 9-star Do-Di strength burst forth, leaving no doubt about his might. The sect leaders in the sky looked thoughtful. They hadn't expected the Xinling King to notice this. Everyone knew the Xinling royal family had been plagued by the Medusa serpent tribe from the east, suffering countless casualties. As a result, the Xinling royal family and the Medusa tribe were mortal enemies. Now, for a member of the Medusa tribe to participate in the points plundering competition and attempt to join a sect, was this not a direct provocation to the Xinling King's authority? As a 9-star Do-Di, how could the Xinling King tolerate this? Cough, cough. Lu Di struggled under the sudden pressure, her Do-Chi freezing up as though solidified. I am indeed from the Medusa tribe, but who says I can't join a human sect? Who made that rule? Lu Di retorted stubbornly. Although Lu Di belonged to the Medusa tribe, she had been raised by humans from a young age and was essentially considered one of them, despite her true nature as a Medusa. There's no rule saying members of the serpent tribe can't join sects. But since you're here, you'll die, the Xinling King said slowly. His voice carried an undeniable pressure that spread out instantly. At that moment, Lu Di realized that the Xinling King, whom she had only heard about in legends, was far more powerful than the rumors suggested. A wave of deathly intent washed over her, and her many multicolored serpents began flicking their tongues nervously, glaring at the Xinling King in the sky as though facing a mortal enemy. Though she had been raised by humans, Lu Di had also visited the serpent tribe and knew of their deep conflict with the Xinling royal family, where bloodshed between the two sides was relentless and brutal. It was no wonder the Xinling King was reacting so emotionally. After all, anyone would feel enraged upon seeing someone from the race responsible for countless deaths among their forces. Shua. The Xinling King, without hesitation, sent out a powerful beam of Do Qi toward Lu Di. What appeared to be an ordinary strike contained terrifying force. If it struck Lu Di, her fate would be sealed. She would fall instantly. This was, after all, an attack from a 9-star Do Di. Even a casual strike from such a powerhouse was beyond comprehension in terms of sheer strength. Just as everyone thought Lu Di was about to meet her end, Chang Yu appeared at her side in an instant. His aura surged to its peak, and a layer of fiery red Do Qi enveloped Lu Di, neutralizing the terrifying force of the Xinling King's attack. Although Chang Yu had successfully blocked the strike, only he knew how horrifying the power contained within it truly was. The recoil from the attack left his body tingling with numbness. That casual strike from the Xinling King had cost Chang Yu nearly half of his Do Qi to block. Humph! Chang Yu, what do you think you're doing? This is a personal grudge between me and the serpent tribe. Are you planning to interfere? The Xinling King asked coldly, clearly displeased. Heh, no matter what this woman was in the past, she has now participated in the points plundering competition and earned the right to join a sect. Since she's chosen Incense Pavilion, it's only right that we protect her to avoid becoming a laughingstock. Chang Yu retorted, his voice cold. Are you unaware of the enmity between the Xinling royal family and the serpent tribe? The Xinling King growled. It was clear that despite his fury, he was powerless to act as long as Chang Yu was intent on protecting Lu Di. After all, this conflict involved two powerful forces. Of course I know, Chang Yu replied. But if you investigate Lu Di's background, you'll see that although she's from the serpent tribe, she's lived among humans all her life and has never harmed one. Must she be judged solely by her origins? If that's the case, how are the super sects of the mystic three heavens any different from the demons and monsters we fight against? Chang Yu continued, knowing full well that he wasn't a match for the Xinling King in battle. His only option was to use reason to persuade him. Ha ha ha, do you really think a mere peak 7-star Do Di like you can challenge me? The Xinling King waved his hand dismissively, clearly not taking Chang Yu seriously. Try me, Chang Yu replied coldly, his voice resolute. It was clear that if the Xinling King continued to push, Chang Yu was prepared to take drastic action. He couldn't allow the new recruits who had chosen Incense Pavilion to lose faith in their sect. The Xinling King frowned. From Chang Yu's determined tone, it was clear that he was dead set on protecting Lu Di. If the Xinling King pressed the issue, it might escalate into a full-blown conflict between the two forces, something he was not eager to see. Though the Xinling royal family and Incense Pavilion had never been on good terms, a direct clash would be damaging for both sides. Furthermore, the other 8 super sects were always watching for any opportunity to take advantage. After a brief moment of contemplation, the Xinling King decided to step back. Let's not lose our tempers, gentlemen. Today is about the new disciples choosing their sects, so personal grievances should be set aside for now. A strong figure from 10,000 Swords Sect interjected, sensing that the situation was about to spiral out of control. With the intervention of 10,000 Swords Sect, the Xinling King and Chang Yu both grunted in displeasure, but returned to their places. As the head of the 9 super sects, 10,000 Swords Sect's words gave them an easy way out, and they gladly took it. To think you would defy me. Damn you, Chang Yu. I'll make sure you pay for this one day, the Xinling King muttered to himself angrily. A strong figure from Solomon leaned in and whispered something into the Xinling King's ear, causing his expression to shift slightly. "Thank you, Senior," Lu Di said gratefully, bowing deeply to Changyu. "It's nothing. Just what I ought to do," Changyu replied. "Come along." As Changyu moved to lead Lu Di away, he noticed her staring at someone on the ground. That person was carrying a heavy ruler on his back, exuding a formidable presence. "Why do you have an aura so similar to mine?" Lu Di asked softly. "There are some things you don't know. But what you should know is that I'm not who you think I am," Xiao Yan replied calmly. Since Lu Di carried the blood of Medusa, the strange reaction Xiao Yan's body had experienced earlier now made sense. Moreover, Xiao Yan had a growing feeling that Cai Lin was somewhere within the mystic three heavens. His soul jade, which had been inactive for some time, had stirred as they approached this place. With Lu Di possessing Medusa's bloodline, she might know something. "I'll have to find an opportunity to ask her," Xiao Yan thought. But since they would both be in Incense Pavilion, it would be much easier to ask later. Xiao Yan smiled at Lu Di, and she returned a knowing nod. In truth, Lu Di had already suspected the answer and had only asked Xiao Yan for confirmation. If Xiao Yan had truly killed Medusa's royalty and absorbed their bloodline power, the resulting bloodline resonance would have been far more volatile. Since the reaction had been so calm, Lu Di was reassured. She smiled gently at Xiao Yan. "I'll be waiting for you in Incense Pavilion." With that, she disappeared behind Changyu. Hearing their exchange, Changyu smiled inwardly. If Xiao Yan truly joined Incense Pavilion, then their chances of achieving something remarkable in the next sect competition would be greatly enhanced. "Damn serpent tribe," the Xinling King muttered under his breath as Lu Di spoke to Xiao Yan. After all, Xiao Yan was the champion of this points plundering competition. Though the Xinling King was skeptical that Xiao Yan had the power to defeat the twin ghost emperors, he couldn't help but take him seriously. "It looks like I'll have to make some big moves. This time, Incense Pavilion won't have peace," said the strong figure from Solomon. "Xiao Yan, which sect will you choose?" The Xinling King's voice, laced with amusement, rang out. He looked at Xiao Yan with great interest. It was well known that the first-place winner of the points plundering competition always achieved extraordinary heights, no matter which sect they joined. Naturally, Xiao Yan's choice was a matter of great interest to all the sects. In fact, sometimes sects would go to great lengths to recruit the champion, offering highly enticing rewards. "Hee, don't be in such a rush to decide," a powerful figure from Solomon said. "Since you're the first-place winner, how about we each present the resources of our respective sects and let you choose after seeing what's on offer?" Xiao Yan had been about to speak, but the sudden offer caught him by surprise. "Hee, this is normal. It's the treatment you get for being first place," Mu Feng remarked, casting a glance at Mu Yingying. If it hadn't been for Xiao Yan's last-minute intervention, the champion would have been Mu Yingying. "I'm not interested in any of that," Mu Yingying shrugged indifferently, having noticed Mu Feng's look. "Is that so?" Xiao Yan smiled. Though he had already made his decision, he was still curious to see what these super sects would offer. "Let me go first. At Solomon, we gather extraordinary talents from all over the world. We're willing to offer you a very refined battle soul," the Solomon representative said. "Battle soul?" Xiao Yan murmured in surprise. "Solomon is certainly going all out," Changyu muttered to himself. Everyone present knew the value of a battle soul. Hunting for one required deploying significant high-end combat power from the sect because the older and more powerful a magical beast, the stronger and more valuable its battle soul. This was a signature mark of a 9-star Do D. A 9-star Do D with a battle soul, and one without were like heaven and earth in comparison. A battle soul? Xiao Yan was hearing about this for the first time and was understandably shocked. A battle soul is something a 9-star Do D can absorb after reaching the 9 transformation stage, explained the Golden Dragon King. In essence, a battle soul greatly enhances one's combat power. In battle, you can summon the battle soul, and with your cultivation base plus the special powers of the battle soul, you can easily handle enemies. It's somewhat similar to your fire spirit possession, though the battle soul isn't as powerful. Your fire spirit possession is much more perfect. The battle soul, on the other hand, tends to leak some of its energy. In the 7 realms, there are currently 108 known battle souls, each with a unique form. However, It's possible that some larger battle souls remain undiscovered. The appearance of a battle soul is extremely rare, as only magical beasts older than tens of thousands of years have a small chance of dropping one. The Golden Dragon King explained calmly. No wonder the Xinling King carries a savage aura. So that's why, Xiao Yan murmured to himself. Don't worry. When you reach that level, the battle soul you acquire will far surpass anything these people can offer, the Golden Dragon King said kindly. I appreciate the offer, but cultivation requires patience, and I must consider things carefully, Xiao Yan responded politely. The Solomon representative frowned, clearly not pleased with Xiao Yan's refusal. Solomon's offer is quite impressive, someone remarked. But we at Myriad Flowers Pavilion can't offer something quite as powerful. If Xiao Yan chooses to join Myriad Flowers Pavilion, we will grant him a Myriad Flowers baptism, the woman from Myriad Flowers Pavilion said softly, though the weight of her words was evident to everyone. Doesn't Myriad Flowers Pavilion only accept female disciples? Chang Yu asked, slightly frowning. If Incense Pavilion can break the rules to accept female disciples, why can't Myriad Flowers Pavilion accept a male disciple? She retorted. Chang Yu fell silent, knowing the rivalry between Incense Pavilion and Myriad Flowers Pavilion ran deep, an old grudge carried over from previous generations. Myriad Flowers baptism? Xiao Yan mused. That's quite something. It's a rare privilege in Myriad Flowers Pavilion, granted only by the pavilion master. The baptism clears out impurities in the body, making Do Qi exceptionally pure, which greatly benefits future cultivation, Mu Feng commented with a hint of envy. The Myriad Flowers baptism is a great offer, Xiao Yan thought. Cleansing impurities would help focus on cultivation and significantly speed up progress. Plus, my body's power is somewhat chaotic. If I didn't already have another path in mind, this would indeed be tempting. Solomon and Myriad Flowers Pavilion are really pulling out all the stops, Chang Yu muttered. I heard the Myriad Flowers baptism is usually reserved for those who achieve great things within the pavilion. I didn't expect them to offer it to recruit Xiao Yan. Even the Xinling King's eyes flickered with interest. After all, even a powerhouse like him would benefit from purifying the Do Qi that had accumulated impurities over the years. I appreciate the offer, Xiao Yan said respectfully, though he had no intention of joining an all-female sect. Myriad Flowers Pavilion and Solomon are both offering impressive rewards, another voice chimed in. But we at Purgatory Hall don't have such grand gestures. However, if you join us, we can offer you a scroll of Immortal Class Do technique, the Purgatory Hall representative said casually, though his words carried weight. Even Xiao Yan's eyes widened slightly in response. An Immortal Class Do technique was a rare and valuable asset, even among the strongest sects in the mystic three heavens. That Purgatory Hall would offer such a prize indicated just how determined they were to recruit Xiao Yan. An Immortal Class Do technique was something that even the other sect representatives frowned at. It was a treasure even in their own sects, something not casually given out. This Xiao Yan must have been through countless life and death battles, thought the Purgatory Hall representative. He carries a faint aura of killing intent, something no sheltered disciple could possess. If he joins us, we're confident we can groom him into the next leader of Purgatory Hall. Xiao Yan's pupils constricted. Even in this gathering of powerful sects, an Immortal Class Do technique was a rare and significant offering.